Parañaque City 2nd District Representative Gus S. Tambunting, Aklan 2nd District Representative Chudorico Ted Haresco Jr. and House Assistant Majority Leader and La Union 1st District Representative Francisco Paulo P. Ortega V. Sir, you have the floor for your short opening remarks.
Auzubillahi minasyaitanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And Ramadan Kareem to everybody here with us today as we are starting the holy month of Ramadan for your Muslim Filipino brothers and sisters. I'd like to thank on behalf of the 19th Congress, again, the partnership that we have with our media friends to relate to the general public any concerns that need to be threshed out so that we can better communicate our work here in Congress and be more responsive to the needs of the nation. So thank you and good morning to all.
Mga pala, sorry, parang hindi na ako marunong. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat at isang karangalan makasama kayo ngayong umagang ito.
Good morning to everyone, especially our media friends. Happy Ramadan, Assistant Majority Floor Leader Khalid Di Paporo and Assistant Majority Floor Leader Paulo Ortega and our honored Chairman, Chair Gus Tambunting. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
Good morning and of course naimbag nga bigat to our district, our first district and our province of La Union and to you our friends from the media. Gandang umaga po.
Thank you. May I call on Isa Bendaño from GMA-DCWB for today's first question.
Magandang umaga po. Yesterday po sa isang prayer rally sa Maynila, binanggit po ni former President Sean.
The former forget a speech na sinabi niya when he was congressman, ayaw niya yung trabaho dito. So hindi siya pumasok sa Kongreso. Something like that. No? Whether it's a joke or if it was real, it kind of hints na maybe he doesn't or he hasn't been clarified on what's happening here in Congress. And that is, we have our legislative process. And when it comes to regular bills, that can happen in the BICAM. But if you listen to the debates in the plenary, when it comes to RBH 6 and RBH 7, there needs to be a synchronization between the House and the Senate. We cannot vote 3/4 on two different versions because that may lead into complications and then may lead into a challenge in the Supreme Court on how we are conducting an amendment to the Constitution. So when he has that claim that this is about term extensions, etc., na biglang mamamagic ito, maybe during the BICAM, I don't see that happening. It's very clear, it's in black and white that we're only dealing specifically with the economic provisions. And then secondly, also, what the 19th Congress is trying to do under the leadership of President Bongbong Marcos, there's no losers here. That was what's nice with what the majority leader did and Speaker Martin Romualdez. We had the committee of the whole. And all of us listened to the debates. And majority of the resource persons spoke positively about the change in the Constitution, specifically the economic provisions. There's been very little negative comments. The only negative comments that we heard in the debates was one, in regards to basic education. Number two, the conduct or the manner we are amending the Constitution, if it is really in line with the 1987 Constitution. So there are only two negative. Everything else was all positive. Advertisement, public utilities, corporate ownership, all of that was all positive. Unlike for those of us that served in the 17th Congress, it never really went into debate when we were discussing federalism. When we're discussing federalism, it might have led to also charter change. It will lead. It will require charter change. And what's this? When we were discussing it, if you remember, we were all organized into 333, mga deputy speakers. So there were 3 for Mindanao. And the general template there was, that was how we were going to divide Mindanao into states, and also Visayas and the Luzon region. Sa amin, it was like Eastern Mindanao and Western Mindanao, and then you have the BARM. When you're talking about charter change for federalism, it was very clear in our internal discussions, you will have big winners and big losers. For example, if you merge together Caraga, Davao, and Socsargen, then you have big fishing industry in Davao City, and then mining in Caraga. What's in the Zamboanga Peninsula? Coconut land, no? So, you know, that proposition of charter change for the purpose of federalism is a little bit more detrimental to various parts of our country. The proposition for charter change under the Bongbong Marcos administration, there will be winners but no losers. That's how I understand it when it came to the debate in the plenary. And last but not least, because he kind of hit the parliamentary form of government, that's not on the table. That's not on the table. It's strictly economic. But if you want to even discuss that, we have to look into the accomplishment itself of the Duterte administration. And that is the passage of the Bangsamoro Organic Law. The Bangsamoro Organic Law is actually supposed to be a template for the federal form of government. And you have a parliamentary form of government inside the Bangsamoro Autonomous Regional Government. So it's a little bit of an oxymoron for our dear former president to attack the parliamentary form of government, and then in his time, in his administration, it is one of his greatest accomplishments for the Mindanao region.
Magpipiggyback lang ako dun sa comments ni Congressman Khalid. I have, in the previous press cons, nag-statement naman po tayo na economic chacha po to. Purely economic chacha. Even if you watch the debates in the Senate, the House, wala naman pong pinag-uusapan tungkol sa politika. So, sabi nga natin during the debates, we have heard a lot of resource speakers. Even nga po yung medyo nasa negative side ng economic chacha, they were even spilling out statements na baka pwede naman kung ganito, baka pwede naman kung ganito. So hindi pa nga totally against yung sa economic chacha because we have never discussed a single thing about anything na political, extension of terms, anything political, wala po na pag-usapan. Di ba nga po, nandito rin kayo, sinabi po natin, ang political chacha po, it will come when the economy is blooming, when the economy is better. Kasi nga po, if you go to other countries, more progressive countries, nakikita po natin, parang lesser governed na po sila eh. Kasi nga po, they have better lives, they have work, they have sustainable lifestyles, mas okay po ang pamumuhay nila. So hindi na po masyado iniisip kung ano po bang benepisyo, ano pang nakukuha natin sa gobyerno. Kasi nga po, maganda na po yung takbo ng ekonomiya sila. So they're letting their leaders lead accordingly kasi nga po, nasasagot na po yung problema ng kahirapan, nasasagot na po yung problema ng education, nasasagot na po yung problema ng ekonomiya, ng sariling pamumuhay nila. So, yun lang po, in addition.
Yes. As an economist and having expertise in international finance, the political ripple that the former president, Rodrigo Duterte, admirer po ko niya, fan po ko galing sa Aklan. What he did was a political ripple that has a grave economic impact on our country. Because as an international banker, that ripple that he created may burn the house down. Sayang po, kagagaling lang ni Presidente BBM and our honored speaker, Martin Romualdez, kadadala lang nila ng $1.7 billion. And those people that they talked to some 48 hours ago will say, whoa, wait a minute. You're having your political instability, and we'll hold our investments in the Philippines. That is what happened. There will be some suspended animation from all these targeted foreign direct investments into our country with that move of our honored former President Degong. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to acknowledge Ed Galvez of FBS Radio for his question.
Good morning, Kongs. What are your thoughts on BP Sara's participation in a prayer rally in Manila, but in support of the SMNI, but it turned out to be anti-PBBM rally? And do you think it sends a message of division? And would it be appropriate for her to resign as a cabinet member? Your message, sir, for BP Sara.
For me personally, in terms of her call for resignation, I think that is the prerogative of our president. The litmus test is when she has lost the faith and confidence of our commander-in-chief, and that is President BBM. And that will be the only time that she should really resign, and do the right thing and resign, if the president no longer believes in her. Secondly, her participation in the prayer rally, I only saw tidbits of it. Who I saw on the stage were Senators Bato and Senator Bongo, as far as national figures. From what I heard and I saw, VP Sara was among the crowd, talking to the people. And we don't really know what her purpose is there. I would want to believe that her purpose is to at least neutralize the former president, na wag naman masyadong masipag yung banat siya kay President Bongbong Marcos, because she is still his cabinet secretary for education. She can still do so much good for our nation. And it really was, a wonderful thing for all of us, the Mindanaoans, I think also the Visayans, and also for the Ilocanos, Northern Luzon, to see the two together, the UNITEAM. That is the greatest, I think the closest in modern history where the Philippine people as a nation were united. So I would not want to give up on that dream na sinasabi ng mga tao na wala na yung UNITEAM. I wouldn't want to give that up on that. I hope that being, his daughter, our former president, President Duterte, will somewhat be, in a way, parang tapered down, or like a dialogue can open, because this doesn't help anybody. This is and again, this is the holy month of Ramadan. For most of us Muslims, for all of us Muslims, this is a month of peace, a month of prayer. And I'm sure that on behalf of all Muslim Filipinos, what's in the bottom of our hearts is that our nation will succeed in moving forward peacefully and united, both Muslims and Christians alike. And it will be very difficult for us to do this when two great leaders are fighting against each other, President Bongbong Marcos and former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. In regards to the prayer rally, is it an opposition? Is it really something to be worried about? Kami naman, we're from Mindanao. So, basta lang walang armas, walang crossfire, walang violence, and there's no harm. It's part of our democratic process for us to have freedom of prayer, freedom of opinion, freedom of speech. In the end of the day, I strongly believe that the majority of the Filipino people will rally with our president, President Bongbong Marcos, because he's doing the right thing.
Are there any additional remarks from other guests? Okay. Billy Vegas from Abante Politico for his questions.
Ifa-follow up ko lang po, baka lang po meron kay message, iba pang message kay kaya former President Duterte tsaka kay Vice President Sara, kasi it turned out na yung mga pinupuntahan nilang prayer rally nagiging anti-BBM rally.
Yun nga, no, for me, parang I really don't understand the concept of the prayer rally kasi it's becoming a different kind of rally. Minsan mellow, minsan mainit na, umiinit nang umiinit. Pero the personalities who are there should be the personalities who are first and foremost na dapat nandyan na tutulong sa gobyerno para ayusin yung mga problema natin. Hindi yung dadagdagan pa yung mga political tension. But for me, they should also, of course, lahat naman tayo, walang monopoly ng love of country. Lahat yan, mahal nila yung bansa. Pero, mas marami pong malalaking problema yung bansa kaysa mag-uumpisa tayo. Stir the pot with political problems, political accusations, yung mga hindi na po kailangan na sinasabi sa entablado na siyempre it will only agitate the public, yung mga nagrarally. So, I encourage them na tulungan natin yung gobyerno natin, tulungan natin si Presidente Bongbong Marcos kasi ang aga po ng politika. Napakaaga po. So, tulungan po natin yung bansa.
Yes, akala ko economics lang to. Pero naging politika. In terms of statistics, in the history of the Filipino, nakikita po natin na mapagbigay ang Pilipino. So, sa midterm period ng isang presidente, pinagbibigyan po ng Pilipino. So, lahat po na nag-atake sa isang presidente during the midterm ng presidente, yung first 3 years niya, ay buwabagsak sa popularity, buwabagsak sa politika. So, sabi nga ng kasama natin, Assistant Majority Floor Leader Ortega, napakaaga, 2025 ba election. Ngayon na nagrarally na sila. And kung bumalik tayo sa EDSA Revolution, ayun po ang inumpisahan. So, it's antique page. No? They cut and paste and try to put in this time na madali ang social media. So, hindi na siguro natutugma. It's a contradiction in terms of personality. Nagtutugma yung prayer rally. Ngayon, na ang dami-daming potential na investments na nakukuha ni Presidente Bongbong, kausap ko po mga bankero sa international at saka they are bullish on our economy because we have one of the most populated countries in Southeast Asia. We have an educated workforce at tumataas na po ang sweldo sa China. So, nagsisilipatan na yung mga manufacturing jobs to Southeast Asia. Mas gusto ng mga investor dito sa Pilipinas. Kaya economic provisions ng konstitusyon ang binibigyan natin ng atensyon. So again, sana yung mga political rallies according sa COMELEC period na lang, saka na muna mag-rally-rally at saka hindi na gamitin in God's name yung mga whatever personal or political objectives. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Billy.
Kay Congas, boss, yung ano ba, yung bill na inapprove kahapon, will it go sa regular mill? I mean, kailangan ba ipasa rin siya ng Senate para ma-revoke yung franchise ng SMNI?
Opo, kailangan po dumaan po ng Senado to. This will pass the regular process. Kailangan basahin sa plenaryo ng Kongreso, second, third reading, at dadalhin po sa Senado.
Habol pa. Isa pa po. Regarding lang po doon sa statement ni VP Sara, sabi niya, Kibuloy deserves fair trial daw.
Well, I think she was mentioning is dapat sa korte. No, I think that's ginagalang po natin yung opinion niya. Dito naman po sa Kongreso, ang pinag-uusapan po rito ay yung prangkisa ng SMNI. At ito ay binigay po ng Kongreso. Kung ito ay binigay ng Kongreso, Kongreso rin po lang ang pwede bumawi po ito. At yun naman po ang proseso. And as far as due process is concerned, dito po sa hearing po namin, 6 months has been given, 5 months of hearing, 6 hearings were conducted, and the palagay ko mas marami nga sinabi yung kampo ni SMNI kesa po sa mga congressmen. Talaga po lahat po ng kanilang paliwanag ay ating pinakinggan at pinagbigyan po natin lahat ng katanungan nila.
Thank you. From Inquirer Online, Gab Lalo, you're recognized.
Sir, 2 questions sana. First of all, do you think yung last night's prayer rally in support of Pastor Kibuloy and the SMNI is an effort to undermine the legislature's authority, particularly the Senate? Kasi the Senate Committee on Women, Children, and Family Relations has already sought for an arrest order against the pastor. Do you think it undermines the authority of the legislative, sir?
Definitely, we're going to speak for the Senate. No? And I think that question should be also addressed to the senators.
Kung yung pangalawa po, sir, do you think there's a greater chance for the pastor to show up in the House hearings? Kasi parang may promise po si Attorney Topacio na he'll try to convince si Pastor Kibuloy to attend. Kaso, sir, on another side, paano mangyayari doon? Kung a-attend siya dito, pwede ba siyang damputin ng Senate Sergeant at Arms?
Pagay ko, hindi. No? Pero alam po ninyo, yung the mere fact na nagbigay pa rin ng palugit ng committee ng 3 araw on the request of Attorney Topacio just shows you kung gaano hong kaluwag ang committee sa pagbibigay po ng lahat ng request nila. Maski na po sa 5 buwan, minsan hindi dumating si Pastor Kibuloy, inimbitahan po siya 4 beses, ay pinagbigyan pa rin na on the special request of Attorney Topacio na bigyan po hanggang Biyernes. So talaga ho lahat ho ng pagbibigay at luwag ay binigay po namin during the 5-month hearing. So, nagsimula po kami November at kahapon lang po na desisyonan.
Sir, do you think he'll show up? I mean, we cannot speak for the pastor, but do you think there's a possibility that he'll show up?
Habang may buhay, may posibilidad.
Are you okay with your questions, Gab? Thank you. Opponent question from Joby Marie de la Cruz of Business Mirror for Kong Ted Haresco. Considering the decline of 6.6% in full year 2023 foreign direct investment